Let's try that again. We're done. We're done with the program. Today is the last success call, but it's not our last call. We're going to have one more call on Monday where Angela is going to take a look at what we voted, if we want to do yoga or Pilates. And then I do want to do one more call on Friday to see what everybody's final results are, because you were supposed to keep going through with the Live It phase through to the end of the month, which is till next Wednesday. And my hope is that you will continue to live it for the rest of your life. That's my hope, at least. So, yay!
Yes.
So, Tammy, tell me about your successes so far, and then I will let you go into continuing to teach us about our unconscious mind.
Okay. Let's see, my successes. So I have kept the weight off, which I'm glad of. I have noticed sometimes when I check my weight, it's obviously I'm lighter in the morning and a couple pounds more at night. So I kind of know where my range of, hey, I've kept it off and it's still off. So I like that. And I really like that I'm so much more conscientious of what I'm eating and what I'm putting into my body than I ever have been in my whole life, which is basically a life change.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't measure any parts or anything like that, so I don't know as far as the numbers. I've just been looking at the scale because that's easy. I feel better, and I feel like when I'm taking the things that I'm taking, like each day as I'm taking what I'm supposed to, I feel healthier. I feel a little more energized. Plus, I know I'm doing the right thing, so even if I don't quite feel it, it's okay. I know I'm taking care of my body, so I even feel better knowing I'm making those choices. So, what else? When I'm going places, when I'm going to eat out, I'm choosing healthier. Like, I would never choose a salad in the past. I'm like, whatever, why waste the time going out on salad? But now I see it as, well, I'm not really wasting, and going out to eat doesn't mean I'm supposed to gorge or get all the most pasta or the most, heaviest things or whatever. And even when I do get those things, I'm also keeping an eye on portioning, which I always used to, but I didn't always do what I really wanted to do per se. So now I'm back on track with that. So I'd have to say those are the things that I feel successful with. And plus I'm sticking to it. Like we just went and bought some more vegetables. So it's not something I feel like I'm going to change back. So I like that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. Well,
Thank you.
want everybody to continue with their success. And that's one of the reasons why I've got you going on again as our guest speaker, to continue on what we talked about of the unconscious mind, of how we sometimes battle ourselves. I've noticed that sometimes we tend to think a lot more negative than we should. I know a couple of people have come to me and they're like, I'm so sorry, I messed up. I ate a piece of pizza. And I'm like, that's okay. Did you eat your vegetables today? Yeah. Did you eat your vegetables all week? Yeah. Have you been eating your fruit? Yeah. Are you sleeping 8 hours? Yeah. Okay. So you do realize you're still getting an A in the class, right? Because you're allowed to have a slip up. That's the whole point of the Live It phase. Phase 1 was just to detox, to try and start getting things out of your system that don't need to be there. Phase 2 is to show you that you can continue a cleansing state that is healthy. And now phase 3, the Live It phase, is to show you that you can keep on living this, that you can do it. That's the wonderful, wonderful thing. So, but I don't fully know how to articulate and how to express why we do that. So Tammy, I'm going to let you take it from here of why do we do that? Why do we go, yay, I lost 5 pounds. Oh, but I ate a slice of pizza. And then we tend to beat ourselves up because we had a bad day, so we had that scoop of ice cream, or we really had a nasty craving because we've been doing this for a month. I think everybody in our group is a woman, so we all have our monthly gift, which means we all have our monthly craving where we go, oh my gosh, screw the diet. I need some fill in the blank. For me, it's Chick-fil-A and chocolate. So, and
I
that's,
hope not at the same time.
you have the Chick-fil-A and then you have the chocolate. It's all good. You know, you get the cookie when you get the meal, you know, if you want to be really savvy, you know, you get the kids meal and you trade in the toy for the free ice cream. That's how you really do it.
At Chick-fil-A?
At Chick-fil-A, if you get a kids meal and you trade in the toy, you can get a free ice cream.
I'm there. I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool
Yeah.
to do that? So, but my point is honestly, a 90% is still passing. So I'm going to let you handle it from here as to why we tend to focus on that 10% of, oh, my period hit and I had a craving, or I had a bad day at work, so I had an extra glass of wine, or whatever. So Tammy, it's all you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm going to draw something for you. Let me see real quick here. Can you see that okay?
Yes, I see a C, a line, an S, and a line.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is the conscious and subconscious. So we are always awake and focused at the conscious level. So that's our intellect. And we don't even really think about it. It's just what we do. Our subconscious mind is also always working, but it's working without us having to try. Our subconscious mind holds all of our beliefs. And as I'm looking down, I'm going to be jotting notes for you. It holds all of our beliefs and all of our truths. Okay? But the problem with that is there's sometimes things that we believe are true that are lies. And there's misbeliefs mixed in our beliefs, and we have no idea that those are even mixed in. We think it's all the same thing. So that just gives you that little bit here. Conscious level, intellect.
Just a little, Tammy.
Bring it up.
There we go. Perfect. Now
Oh, closer, you mean?
No, not closer. Bring it back. Bring it back. Right there. Perfect.
So this is where it's stored, and at the subconscious level, we're not really aware of it. It just is. So there might be some things. So for example, I was working with a client the other day, and he was saying to me, well, I know I'm not attractive. I know I have that thought, right? And he didn't even realize that what he was saying was absolutely untrue. But because it was a belief, he's like, yeah, I know I have that belief. Like, I have that belief, it's true, yeah? Just like the same belief with a different client I'm working on, he says things like, well, people are just human. And underneath that statement, we got very clear what he was saying is people are going to hurt me, people are going to lie to me, people are not dependable. And so he has gained this truth that people are just human, and so I can't trust them, I can't depend on them, and that's just the way it is. When we were doing work together, both of these clients were able to see, oh my gosh, so it really could be true that I am attractive and I just have this belief that I'm really not. So people can find me attractive, but I'm not attractive, and so there's this battle going on. And so the same thing will happen with nurturing our body and caring for us with our food. So like the same client who was saying, well, people are just human. Well, when you get below what those words are saying and saying, well, people are going to lie, people are going to hurt me, people are not dependable, what he began looking around his circle of people that he had in his life, they're not honest people. They're not dependable people. But that doesn't mean that's the only people that are out there. And so then what he began to realize was a more accurate truth. Honest people keep their integrity. Kind people are nurturing. People who are respectful respect each other and keep their word. And there are people who can be all of that at once. And so he began realizing he was generalizing a belief to every person, and in fact then was finding only people that matched his truth. We do the same thing to ourselves, but we don't realize it. So we feed ourselves this line of poo, force ourselves to eat it, and we think it's okay. Right? And I use a little bit of vulgarity in that regard because it really is yucky and nasty, just as if we were trying to eat poo. No kidding. And as gross as that sounds.
Just to clarify, poo is not a very good nourishing component. There's a reason it comes out that side of the body. You really shouldn't eat it You're not going to get any.
No, there are no poopsicles that are ever good.
Just need to clarify that nobody needs to actually be eating this.
No, not ever.
I love how
and it's so
we do the same thing mentally. We give ourselves that mental poo, like you said. For some reason, it's okay, but it's like, look, if we went to the bathroom and then scooped it out of the toilet and started eating it, not only would it be disgusting, it would actually make you sick. Oh wow! It would make you physically ill. Not just in the taste, but it's all bacteria and it's all waste. That's all it is. But yet we do the same thing with our minds, and we verbally eat this, and we metaphorically take this in, and yet we don't vomit it up.
Exactly. Although, unfortunately, you'll find ways that you'll continue, when you want to vomit it up, you'll continue to shove it back in. So it might show up in, I need nurturing, let me eat something sweet. I need nurturing, let me go celebrate with my friends and eat lots of cake. Or, my body needs something, I don't know what it is, let me go eat. And when you eat, you're like, well, that wasn't satisfying at all, I still want to eat more. Because here's what happens, and before I jump into that, it's called using distractors, okay? And I will talk about distractors next, but I want to finish sharing this one part with you. So I'm going to write down distractors so I don't get distracted and not remember.
And then I saw that works.
Yes, exactly. So this, first of all, is why this happens, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. This is what the whole world is doing. No kidding. That's why you see it happening all around you. Just some people do it differently. You might see it showing up in how you're eating, so then your body's not well. It's either not getting enough nutrition or getting too much, and so it's a bigger tattletale than for some people. Other people are workaholics nonstop. Other people, they can't ever not be busy. Other people are addicted to getting into bad relationships, or finding people they have to take care of, or getting a lot of animals or things they have to nurture all the time. Or they might find themselves collecting things, but people can't see it because they don't go into their homes. You might find that people have all kinds of relationships where sex is their thing, or smoking, or either kind of smoking or any kind of smoking. There's many different things people are smoking now. And anything that we're using as a distractor is not healthy. It's a little tougher for things that we have to do naturally. So for instance, we need to sleep. Sometimes people get distracted though and sleep too much. Or they're getting distracted with thinking they can't sleep because of their dreams, or because of whatever they want to stay busy with, or just because they have gotten into the habit of really abusing and neglecting their body. And so now it's just what's familiar. So those are all distractions from listening to what's going on inside. And sometimes there may be some traumas or issues or things from the past, actually almost all the time. But sometimes they're so small and so minute, it wasn't a big trauma, but it doesn't matter. It's still there, not being taken care of. So let me use any distractor I can not to take care of it. And some of these could look superbly healthy. It could be somebody who runs all the time, but we don't know that they run all the time, and that they stress about it, and they think about it, and they worry about it, and they're killing their body and their bones, and they're not eating. They might still look okay. So there's all kinds of things that people are doing to themselves because they're avoiding. So that's why we're doing all of that. Now you might be like, well, how is it that I'm avoiding? I'm just eating. Well, some of us know it's emotional eating. Some of us know it's bored eating. If you're doing something that's not for the purpose, so eating is for the purpose to nourish your body. Eating is for the purpose to quench hunger. Eating also has other purposes, to enjoy it, to look at the food, to make sure you're getting everything together. You can also incorporate enjoying it with each other and bonding and things like that. But the basic purpose of eating is to help your body be well and to give it the energy and the nutrition that it needs. And so if you are eating outside of that, then you get to take a look at what's going on. So if we're craving things, we get to take a look and see what's going on in our bodies. And that's where we get into the physical aspects with Lily, and she'll help you with that stuff. But it's important to take a look at and not get it confused with what's going on with ourselves emotionally. So you might be extremely tired, but you might be so used to being extremely tired, you don't even know what your body feels like when it's refreshed. And so every night around 3, well, that would be the afternoon. So afternoon 3, you're getting kind of sleepy, kind of drained, kind of tired. You go have your energy drink. Okay, bing, I'm back up. Dinner's great. And okay, and family time and all this stuff. And now everybody's sitting down and relaxing. I overate. We had this, and then we had dessert, and then we had soda, or then we had, but all these different things, whatever it is. Now your stomach's heavy. Now you're weighed down. And so now you're tired again, but even more tired than before. Maybe your stomach is stretched out and so on. And this could be other things. It could be that you're not allowing yourself to eat because you feel like maybe you don't deserve to eat because your body's too big, or maybe you're struggling with, there's just so many things. But the goal is to bring yourself back, start taking a look at all of your actions, what's going on. If you're really tired, your body does need energy, and so it's going to look for energy in the quickest places. And the quickest that we've been taught here in America, I don't know about all of the countries, but in America, sugar and caffeine. So that's what we run to. And both of them, I mean, a little bit of caffeine isn't really bad, but we don't usually do a little bit of caffeine. And as far as sugar, people are not taught to do a little bit of sugar. We're taught from birthday 1 or from cookie 1, this is what you do to make yourself better. This is what you do when you're crying. This is what you do when you're sad. You eat a whole Ben and Jerry's. It's like a joke. People eat the whole thing of Ben and Jerry's when they're upset. And you watch it on these movies, and it's supposed to be humorous. This is what people are doing to themselves. And here's why. And this might sound a little interesting, but bear with me. So like I was saying, at the conscious and subconscious. So just to give you an example, and this is a one that I've heard before from my actual clients. So let's say, for instance, a baby comes home, and it's his or her very first day or second day home. Now, that's the whole percentage of that baby's life. Now, that very first time that this baby experiences tummy pain, doesn't know why, but the baby's just crying, and nobody's coming. For the very first time, nobody's soothing that baby of a pain. It doesn't understand anything, but it knows some kind of innate primal instinct. Oh my gosh, it's not okay. And they don't think so much in words per se, but you can hear them go from a regular cry to a panicked and terrified cry. You can kind of see their body going almost from a relaxed, irritated to a panic, and they're shaking. So you can see this literally happen as they're going through whatever is going through. And so their primal is kicking in, and it's something like, oh my gosh, I'm not okay. I'm not safe. I'm not loved, and I'm going to die. Now, they don't think it in those words, but you can tell by the panic they kick into that they're automatically being thrown there. Now, the truth of the matter is, it was really just 15 minutes. It took mom a little bit longer to wake up, and maybe dad wasn't there, or maybe dad's exhausted too. And so she had to go get the bottle, and there's so many things. She doesn't want to burn the baby, and the little carrier is not nearby, and she's tired and sore. She just pushed out a baby and has spent days not sleeping. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. But the baby doesn't understand any of that except for the fact of that very first moment of feeling not loved, not safe, and not secure. And so what happens is there's a very first belief here that niches onto the subconscious. And so that niche is there. And usually if it's just one time, it's not going to be a big deal. But in our lives, does anything like that really happen only one time? No, because life is going to happen. Now, for some of us, life is pretty crappy, and it happens all the time. For some of us, moms don't come very often, or they don't really care, or they give you spoiled milk, or there's all kinds of things. And then there's the great parents that are there, but they're off doing something, vacuuming, doing things, and so it takes a long time. It could be the smallest things. It could be that maybe during 11 or 11 to 1 or whatever, it's baby's time to go rest and have alone time. Well, mom already took care of everything, but now she's got to go do chores, and so she leaves the baby in the crib. That baby doesn't understand. And so for that time every day, that baby is feeling alone. And all that baby remembers is nothing. Nobody's there. They're just walking around by themselves, just being there. And I have had clients who feel traumatized by that event and they didn't even know it. They didn't know that they created the belief that I'm alone, nobody's here for me, I have to take care of myself out of an event like that. And we have no idea as parents if that's happening. We're doing everything right that we know how. But because it occurs, right, that first time, and then again, something else occurs. So it could be now I'm being left in the crib. Now, and there's other things too. It could be hearing mom and dad fighting. So then there's that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm so little. I'm so helpless. I can't do anything. It could be a parent saying, well, why can't you be more like your sister? And each time, by the way, I'm saying these things, I'm making a mark. It could be, now you're in preschool and the other kids aren't nice. They're all like picking or throwing stuff or whatever. Somebody knocks somebody in the head or pushes them down the stairs. And so each time is a new experience of that same feeling of unsafe, unloved, and not secure. And so what's happening is this is solidifying it to be even more true. Because when you have a truth that's beginning, you'll find proof to make it true. So for instance, if you have a bad relationship and you have had many bad relationships or parents weren't really there for you and you believe, I can't trust people. People are just going to give me a really hard time. They're not going to be honest with me. They're never going to stick it out with me. I just can't find that good person. You will not find that good person because your belief is what you will continue to create. And so you will find yourself drawn to someone who seems like a good person, but you'll miss all the red flags because your belief is you're going to find a bad person. So when you have all those red flags that you're ignoring, so that way when they stop being nice and they're really the bad person and they make you right all over again, and then you're just like, why is this happening to me? You really don't know. It's because you created all of it. And not blame. I'm not blaming anybody. It's because these things happened and you're functioning from this belief. It's like having these kinds of sunglasses on saying, on the lens, I can only find bad people because there's only bad people out there. It's not a fault. It's just what's occurred. It's basically like I keep losing the train of thought. It's the missing link, and you don't know it. You don't know that you have it. You don't know you've put the wrong link in. And so you can actually change this as you're learning the whole concept of the things that I teach about self-hypnosis and allowing to understand your emotions and what's going on. Now, here's the thing. This continues. And by the way, this one little nick here represents hundreds upon hundreds of experiences we have every day. And so it's not just one. And so it'll continue to grow. So each new experience compounds on the other. So it just grows up more and more until eventually it hits the conscious level. So you've been having all these things at a subconscious level, all the way up to the conscious level until you start to put words to it like, yeah, I know I'm not smart enough. I know I'm not good enough. And it'll start to show up in a lot of different ways. And you're doing it as a little kid. So if somebody says to you, you're just stupid, look at stupid head, blah, blah, blah. As adults, we're just like, be nice to each other. But as kids, we're like, they think I'm stupid. I wonder if I am stupid. And if that stuff like that continues to happen, or if a parent says they're stupid, or even if a parent says, you're so wonderful, but for some reason the child wants to misinterpret that and say, oh, well, my parent's just making that up because I'm so stupid. Like, children do the craziest things because in their mind they're trying to protect themselves. So that child...
Adults do that.
Exactly. What happens is we just grow up with those same beliefs. We don't know they're there. That's where the whole paradigm shift comes from. We don't know it's even going on. That's why we continue to grow up as adults functioning in exactly the same belief, because we didn't know we needed to get rid of it in the first place. It's so deep of a belief, it's true. So how can you change something that's true? So just to give you an example, my conscious level when I was a little kid, and you would think, oh, well, little kids, that's not going to happen. I was 4 years old. I already believed that it would have been better if I hadn't been born and my brother had stayed alive because my mother needed to have a boy. I knew if I had been a boy, my mother would love me. I knew if I could have stayed little, my mother would have loved me. I knew that my mother was always going to use my grandmother to hurt me. And this is 4 years old. I also knew that I was terrified to speak my mind. Whether I told the truth or whether I lied, it depended on what my mom wanted to believe, whether or not I'd be punished. And so from that moment, I began to be afraid of success and failure instantaneously. And so I began to be petrified to have an opinion. I was petrified to even explain why I did something. I don't know became my favorite saying. And it was really a time where I began to learn to figure out what was the best thing to say and do versus be in integrity and be honest. I also learned to be terrified to go home every single day. So that was my initial bouts of panic. And I started school at 4. So I started elementary school at 4. I was very smart at that age. And so every day coming home, it was just like, who am I going to be? Who do I have to be? And I wasn't thinking those words, but thinking back, that's exactly what I was doing. Like, how's he going to be? Am I going to be in trouble? Is she going to be mad at me? Did I do something wrong? And so on and so on. So you might think, well, nothing can, but from the time we begin conceiving ideas, just like the whole thing of there's no food, what am I going to do? Babies who cry, who are not catered to or not nurtured, will stop crying. They're so very, very smart. Just like if you have a baby, there were studies that were done, and these are so wild to me, but there were studies that were done where the baby's looking at the mom and the mom's all cooing and, hi baby, I love you, and all these things. And the mother is asked to make a straight face and make no face at all with the baby. So the mom's just like this the whole time. And so then the baby is trying to interact, trying to smile, trying to coo, trying to whatever. And you could see the baby starts to get a little distressed. And you could see it's like starts to get loud and kind of makes yelling sounds. And the baby can't speak. And then she's like, gets a little whiny and a little distrusting. And then she starts turning away from the mom. And you could see she's getting more distressed. Oh, this makes you want to cry even talking about it. This isn't even really, mom's not doing anything bad. But because there's no interaction and there's no confirmation of, hey, I'm over here, I'm okay, everything's okay with us, right? The baby begins to cry more and more and more. And instead of reaching toward the mother now, the baby's reaching away and crying. The baby's so distressed, she doesn't know what to do. And that only happens like a minute. It's like maybe a minute and a half even. It's not long. But it's such an amazing process. And then the mom comes back to her, it's okay, and then the baby's fine again. We are those same people, we just get older. And so it's really important as you go about this practice of what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be eating and how you're going to be taking care of yourself. So the saying, right, of stop, drop, and roll, what I want you guys to start doing is stop, drop, and replace. And it's not going to happen in an instant. It's going to take practice. Well, let me rephrase that. It's going to happen in an instant, and you're going to get better at it with practice. And so you might stop it in some instances, but you come right back to it. You might catch yourself again, not do it, you come right back to it. And I'll explain exactly what I mean in just a moment. But first off, what I want to share with you is as this continues to grow, it continues to grow for the rest of your life, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm going to draw a couple more. So let's say now you've had a couple friends who have bailed on you. So now friends you can't trust, they're not going to be there for you. And mom and dad, again, now they're fighting, they get a divorce and so on and so on. And so that continues to grow, and it just grows out of this world. So this unsafe, unloved, and not secure just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you take care of it. Pushing it away, exercising it away, eating it away, relationshiping it away, praying it away. I used to pray all the time, but my prayer didn't sound like, oh God, I love you so much. Thank you for being with me. My prayer sounded like, God, what's wrong with me? Please fix me. Why have you forgotten me? You know, why do I always get this wrong? Why am I always so scared? What's my purpose? Why do I feel like I'm useless? Like that wasn't praying. I was using God to just beat the bejeebies out of myself. But I didn't know. I thought I was praying. Fast forward. I've been through so much therapy. I've done, work. I've got my bachelor's in psychology, my master's in business and healthcare management. I've got different courses that I took, all kinds of personal development, Landmark Summit, TLC, gratitude training, you name it. But I could never shake the beliefs that I had about myself. And I didn't know they were just something I made up. In my mind, they were true. Something was wrong with me. Every time I felt fear or doubt, something was wrong with me. Why am I having these thoughts? Why can't I get rid of them? Well, I'm here to help you learn. Those thoughts are just a thought, right? And sometimes, quite possibly, you could be connected to a thought that's not even yours. And you might be like, well, what the heck does that mean? Well, what if you've been hearing for your whole life that you're supposed to be a certain figure, that you're supposed to look a certain way? Not to say that happens, but it does, my friends. It happens from the time before we're even born out of our mommy's belly. We're still hearing the same sounds mom hears. We're still listening to all the same things that go on. And so what I want to do with you is help you now to realize you have been being programmed your whole life. And so now you get to practice the reprogramming. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be doing some of that reprogramming. And what I'd like for you to do is just allow yourself to practice taking a moment as you're listening to this. You can sit up just as you are now. You can close your eyes. I'd like you to, so you don't have any of the extra stimulation. I'll have my eyes closed sometimes and open others just to make sure everything's still going good. And just like we did before, but this time what you're going to be doing is anytime a negative thought comes up, you're going to go, wait, stop. Just as you would if you saw a child walking toward the street. And not only would you say stop, but you'd run and get him and you'd pull him back. That's exactly what I want you to do now. I want you to imagine yourself as your eyes are closed. And I want you to imagine just yesterday. Imagine yourself yesterday when you were saying to yourself, oh man, I did a great job today. I ate my vegetables, or I didn't eat any fruits because maybe that's not what I need to be eating because sugar's not good for me, or, I ate the right proteins, whatever it was, you're thinking about the right thing that you did. And then you notice that there's a part of you that goes, yeah, but I didn't do this, and I did that, and I didn't do this, and you start to go into this spiral of all this self-abuse. That would be like going up to that child and pushing them out into the street in front of the car. Would you ever do that? And your first response is, no, I would never do that. But I want you to think about the truth. The truth of the matter is, as soon as you begin to do that, you are pushing yourself out in front of a moving vehicle, getting run over, because you are mistreating yourself and you are saying unkind things and you are berating yourself and you are practicing self-abuse. Now, just because it's true doesn't mean you have to beat yourself up with it. What you get to realize is you've created a habit of going down this pathway of feeding the negative, feeding it, somehow believing you're protecting yourself, all the while hurting yourself. It would be the same thing if you were cutting your arm. You are cutting your emotions, you are cutting your spirit, you're cutting your soul. So of course you're going to give up. Of course it's going to be harder. Of course you're going to be depressed or sad or want to go eat sweets to feel better. You're going to want to give up because you're beating yourself up. If you had someone standing there who did a great job mostly, but there were some things that they didn't do, and all they were hearing from you is, boy, you suck. I can't believe you didn't do this. Why didn't you do that? Why can't you just get it perfect? It's already been a month. You should have this down. Like, how long are they going to be able to put up with that before they break? So just imagine how strong you are, that you've been putting up with it your whole life and you haven't broken. You maybe have given up a little, but you're back on because you're here in this program. So that says you're back on. You're not letting it get you down. But here's the thing, you're going to stop it now. So again, I want you to close your eyes. And now as you go forward into tomorrow, or even tonight, you're going to be looking at the things that you did right. Just like you go up to that little child and you say, You know what? I love you so much. So imagine yourself going up to yourself, your tomorrow self, and saying to her, you know what? You're doing such a great job. And I want you to think that now. Take in a nice deep breath. And right after you think it, I want you to say it. Say it with your name, just as I say mine. Tammy, you are doing a great job. There are so many things you've done right. Look at how you're really accomplishing things in the program. Look at how you're really loving your body. Look at how you're really nurturing this vessel that God's given you. Look at how you followed this step and that step and this step. Look at how your shopping has changed. Look at how your thought process has changed. Looking at all these beautiful things. And as you see all those things, I want you to allow yourself to just wrap your arms around her, because you can feel that hug that she wants, that love, that connection. And together the two of you are remembering. Stop, drop, and replace. Anytime you find yourself now practicing any negative thought, stop, drop, and replace with love. Replace with the things that I'm doing. And instead of beating myself about what I'm not doing, I might jot down how I can do it better, and then I'm going to, and that's it. And I want you to just listen to these few short moments over and over and over again. And we started them about 7:35-ish. It didn't take long. It just took a few short moments. And I wanted you to see that so you realize it's not hard work, but because it's new, it may feel hard. You might be resistant to even listening to it. But once you listen to it, what I'd like for you to do is record it into your own recorder, whatever wonderful things you'd like to say to yourself about the wonderful things you've accomplished each week. Don't worry about the things that you've missed. You'll be able to do that in the I want to call it Strip 10. Tell me what it is again.
Shred 10.
Shred 10. I've got all these different names I keep coming up with. And you have the support that you need. So just remember those negative things that come up, that's just about that abuse. You get to release it instantly just like that. Stop, drop, replace. Stop, drop, replace. Replacing with love, nurturing, care, kindness, successes. And you just keep doing that, and you're going to find that shift happening, that love happening, that self-care happening. And again, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. And if you find yourself falling into self-sabotage, you know you have a hypno coach for life. You also know you have Lily here to help you with everything that you need. So go to her, ask her, give me a call. I can give you more information. There's so much more I want to share with you guys. Thank you again so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tammy, so much for that. I love that, and I love the visual of envisioning our tomorrow self. And I mean, I'd be willing to bet it's probably even worth it to envision our younger self and start reprogramming that inner child that we have. I love that. Thank you so much. Tammy is going to place her contact information in the group so that if you guys need a fantastic hypno coach, you already have a jump start with 2 lessons. If you haven't watched last Friday's success stories where Tammy showed us how to start with meditation, please, please, please go back and watch it. Start again with this one. Tammy, how do you offer your sessions?
Well, the way they work, first of all, I do a breakthrough call, so that's free. And we get to answer any questions that are going on, what to expect, and already begin to see what things are in the way and begin to get some breakthroughs with that. Now, when we do the session, it's both life coaching and hypnotherapy. So with the life coaching aspect, we create an action plan for the weeks that we're working together, and also into looking into the future, so projecting that and what those goals will be, and they're always going to be measurable and attainable. Otherwise, we get to revamp and see what's going on there. And then we'll also practice the hypno coaching, and it's relevant to whatever's going on in your life. And so, for instance, some issue might take just a few sessions, and other issues on the norm take 4 to 6 sessions, and the session itself is about 90 minutes to 2 hours. And we work on that and what's your schedule and how everything's going. And then each person's different. So what I say after that depends on what your results are. We can do a maintenance session once a month, Or if things are really going on and we've gone through one concern and now there's another one and then another one and some really big concerns, and sometimes things can be going on all at once, then we might continue to do it weekly for a little while until things start to really clear up. And then it's just like, okay, I've got this. And so then it's just like this really smooth transition into once a month or once every couple months.
So you work with the individual of where they're at. So someone who's dealing with a lot, weekly calls. Someone who's dealing with a little, maybe monthly calls or every other week, something along those lines. So I love
with initially, I'd say each person is going to be weekly. I mean, of course, it's going to depend on their budget. I would say every other week is probably as far as I would want to stretch it, because our old habits will get back in the way. So you really want to compound that work. Otherwise, it begins to set up some self-sabotage, and then it's not completed. So I want a person that I'm working with to be committed to every other week. I mean, unless there's some dire thing going on, and I'll work with somebody if need be. But that's kind of what it looks like. And then once we've gone through the main program, whether it's 4, 5, 6 sessions, then we start spreading it out, because now it's more about taking a look at how are you handling life? How's it coming up? Helping you with accountability and support and additional training. And a lot of this is also skill development in whatever areas skills are needed.
Wonderful. I love it. So Tammy, make sure you post your number in the group so people can call you for their free breakthrough session.
Absolutely.
I want to hear everybody's success stories for the month. And next Friday, your homework between now and next Friday is to take your measurements. I want to see some measurable results, before and after pictures. How many inches have you lost? How much weight have you lost? Tammy is sharing with us her goals and her accomplishments, and how she's down 6 pounds and how she's doing awesome. So I want to see those results for everybody. And I want next call to be everybody celebrating all the weight they've lost. And I want to hear everybody's success stories. I can't wait to see you guys then. Don't forget to be on the call for Monday, when Angela is going to be doing some Pilates or yoga for us. So see you guys then. Have a great night.
Don't want to miss it.